Amstone and Dan Fowlks.
Hey everybody.
All right, guys, pretty epic. All right, let's hear about the genesis of this project, how it came to be.
This came to be when I was at Horror Fest in 2021, and I was talking to some guests there. They said, you know, I think I want to make a Western film. And about a month later, I wrote a script and was looking for a producer. I sent it to this guy who reached out to me on Facebook. And it all just kind of fell into place after that. You know, the people responded once he came on board. We got Caleb Patton to do cinematography. We got Mark Brassets on board, and my good friend Jonah handmade all the wardrobe. And it just kind of piece by piece, and a year and a half later, here we are.
Really quickly too, I think there's a bunch of people in here that worked on this movie. If you worked on this movie, stand up so everyone can see. There's quite a few people. Dean, I saw your name in there too. All right, guys, we're going to turn it over to you. If we have any questions, just raise the hand. Got one right up here.
Great job, Charlie. Really enjoyed it. I'm curious, so the opening scene, was that shot? Or, because I know there's like the voiceover, and if it wasn't, do you plan to include that robbery scene on camera at some point?
Yeah, so we had actually talked about that. There was discussions about having it animated. There was discussions about using some AI to generate images and kind of animate that way. I really just responded to the idea of opening a Western film with like a radio drama approach, because I figured what you guys could create in your head for a train robbery was way cooler than what I could afford to do. So
there's not a whole lot of operational trains around this area either. We checked.
especially ones that are dated for 1877, which is when we set this film.
Can you tell us about location scouting and permits and all that good stuff? If you did permits?
Yeah, let me actually give that one to Dan, because Dan was pretty much in charge of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, shooting this over by Kolob, we stayed within the requirements that they have for smaller film shoots, so 5-person crews. So when we're out on locations, we stayed within the parameters of what they've allowed for smaller productions to go shoot. So a lot of that was shot over by Kolob, if you've been up there, and obviously in the snow it's just beautiful. So yeah, it was cold laying down in the snow. Yeah, real quick, I want to mention Lindsay Cruz up here. Yeah, round of applause. She's not here today. I met Lindsay years ago, and actually part of the story was, it was actually 2 male gang members, and that was part of the discussion. The script is like, what if it has to be a woman? Like, it just, I don't know, there's some dynamic there that would just be so cool to see. And myself, having worked with Lindsay years ago, I was just like, that's the person I wanted to bring onto this project, and I think she did tremendous. She did an awesome job. So.
ICARIAN, what does that mean?
So ICARIAN is actually a descriptive word for people with the traits of Icarus. Icarus flew too close to the sun and faced the consequences of his actions. And that is exactly what happens to an outlaw gang member who rapes, murders, steals money, and does whatever he wants. And I thought, what better way to tell a story than to, you know, challenge the audience and say, okay, we're gonna kind of root for the outlaws here when, you know, they're actually the bad guys. And I feel really sorry for people that, you know, choose really negative lifestyles. You know, like what leads a person to that route, and the inevitable conclusion of those choices is always the same. You go out of this world the same way everybody else does, and sometimes in a less pretty way.
Got time for one more question?
So I'm curious, the location. You know, I've never shot in the snow or out, you know, that deep in nature. How hard was it bringing equipment out there for some of those scenes?
Yeah, so the beginning scene was actually completely reshot because of some technical issues that we had, and we shot that at Timpanogos. There's a hiking trail, so we were only like 20 feet from a parking lot during that beginning bit. But everything we shot in Zion National Park, we were, you know, walking a half mile or a mile up and down hills. Like the ending scene, like the RV that we had was like parked way up on a hill, and we had to like zigzag all the way down to this tree. We're carrying generators and air compressors because that blood effect was practical. So yeah, and we were chasing daylight, so it was a real nightmare climbing up the hill as the sun's dipping over the horizon.
All right, guys, let's hear it for Paul.